Can you say something?
Hello, how are you doing?
There he is, man. Look at that. Listen to his sexy voice, guys. I'm just gonna start off by saying, listen to that voice, guys. It's already gonna be a good stream. It's gonna be a good podcast interview already for just the fact that Light has an amazing voice. You got a radio voice, my friend. Okay,
Oh,
so we're gonna kick this. We're gonna kick this thing started. We're doing Draven today. Okay, this is part of the Teach a Dad series. Today, Light is going to be teaching me Draven. He's a Draven main. Do you mind if I pull up your OPGG, man?
sure, go ahead.
All right, let me see. What's your main account? Is it Light the Waiter?
It is AG Light.
Oh, yeah, duh. AG Light. Come on now. Come on now. I've seen that all the time. All right, what season would you say? Did you play Draven a lot last season, or?
Yeah, pretty much all I played last season was Draven. I have a lot of games, a lot of ranked games last season.
All right, so season 8. Wow, look at this Draven. 62% win rate. Yeah, you played quite a few Draven games. That's a really good win percentage too, especially because you know, the more you play, that win percentage can start to fall. But the fact that you stayed above 50%, but then hitting into the 60%, that's really good. Can you let me know what your peak rank was last season?
Last season I peaked at Plat 2, I believe.
Okay, awesome. Plat 2. Crisco, what's going on? Hey, so real quick, let's just get started with your history with Draven. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on this champion. I myself, I look at him and get scared because I know all I have to do is breathe and he'll kill me. So let me know what got you into Draven. How were you introduced to Draven? How long you been playing Draven? You know, tell me why you decided to main him and all of this stuff. Just basically give us your history with this champion.
Pretty much whenever I play League, I found that the characters I hate playing against the most are the characters I like playing the most.
Yes, yeah.
And so after just being completely annihilated by a Draven, I was like, all right, I need to be able to do that.
And how long ago was this when you first realized you hated playing against Draven?
This was 2 seasons ago because Draven used to be my permanent ban. Like I would just ban Draven every single game.
Okay.
Until like, eventually I stopped banning him, banning someone else, and then a Draven just annihilated me, and I was like, okay, I need to be able to do this. I also watch Tyler 1 a lot, and I know a lot of people hate Tyler 1, but like, the boy's good at Draven. You gotta give him
He's good at Draven. Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, whether you like him or not, there is entertainment value to that. And, yeah, he's definitely probably the most well-known Draven player. And a lot of people have watched him. You know, I've watched him for the gameplay when I thought I was going to try my attempt at Draven. I realized that, I don't know what I realized because I've tried him several times. I think my biggest difficulty with him was just the whole axe mechanic, and so hopefully maybe you can shed some light on that with me today. But yeah, I mean, what would you say is, I guess what would you say is the hardest thing about learning someone like Draven?
I think Draven way more so than other characters. You need to have a certain mindset to play him.
Okay.
Because if you play this complacent, safe ADC type play style that pretty much every other ADC plays, you're not going to do well. You need to play aggressive and you need to play ahead to get
basically it matches his personality. You have to play like his personality. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, yeah.
I gotcha.
Like Tyler 1 is the embodiment of Draven, just this toxic little show off rage.
There you go. That's
why it works. Okay. That's why it works.
Draven not for. They're already saying that Draven is not for me because if you've ever seen my ADC, I tend to play very scared. My positioning has always not been, it's never been great. I never understand my full damage potential, so I usually play like things like Caitlyn or Ashe or something I could just auto attack from far away. So Draven is definitely going to be a different type of ADC for me to try and learn. I guess what would you say is how do you think Draven fares in today's meta? And today we're in patch 9.2, I believe. How do you think Draven fares in today's meta as of 9.2?
I think he's been a solid mid-tier for the longest time. He's never going to be in pro play, but he's always just so good in solo queue because no one knows how to play against him.
And why do you think that is? Why is it never seen in pro? I mean, I actually have seen, starting LCS just started. I know that, but looking over at the Korean LCK and even the LPL, I've actually started to see a few more Dravens being played. So I think it maybe is starting to creep up. But why do you think that it hasn't been played more often before?
It used to just be that his play style doesn't fit into pro play. In these
Teamwork.
games where you're these games where you're playing against people who are not going to die, they're not going to make mistakes for you to capitalize on against as Draven. You're never going to get ahead, and then you're just going to fall behind.
I think that's a good point.
But that was during the season of incredibly aggro supports.
Yeah.
Super good. Also, ardent sensor supports, and Draven was just sort of cheesy pocket pick there.
Just melted people. Yeah, and it might be nice. Maybe the trend will continue, and we'll start to see more of them. I think that's it's pretty cool to see the diversity in the meta right now. I think I've been seeing a lot more champions out there that I haven't seen in a while or at all. So I think you're right on that. Competitive play is a lot different than solo queue, where there's not much coordination. People tend to feed more often, and a champion like Draven can get you really ahead and can snowball and win the game. So I think in that regards, if you can get a good grips on him and be fairly decent at him, I think you have a good chance of climbing the ladder. So with that said, let's move into a little bit of matchup talk. We talked about that he's kind of a mid-tier pick, always been a good, strong mid-tier pick. Who is a champion that, you don't like facing? And we know that, like, as you get better in ELO, matchups don't matter as much. In lower ELO, it kind of does. And so we're kind of trying to see, what kind of, do you ever see a champ on the other lane where you're like, oh man, this is going to be a little bit difficult?
Absolutely. For me, it's Caitlyn.
Okay.
Also, just a note, if you ever see someone ban Caitlyn in champ select, you can guarantee they're going to play Draven.
Okay, good tips. Pro tip right there.
Yeah, it's a bad matchup for Draven because Caitlyn will not get bullied. If Draven tries to go in, she can just E away.
Mm-hmm.
She's actually capable of bullying Draven back. Wow. So I would say Caitlyn is Draven's only bad matchup, per se. Other things to watch out for, Lucian, just because he's so good right now.
True.
And then Ezreal, because Ezreal can just farm from a distance and can E away if he's ever in danger. So
how does is this scaling? Like, I don't fully understand the whole concept of scaling. I hear it all the time, and I know it means, like, when somebody says they scale well in the late game, means they get strong later. Is he a good scaling ADC, or is he okay?
He doesn't scale that well.
Okay.
His mid game is incredibly strong. His early game is where he's the strongest.
Okay.
So your objective is to end the game quickly and ensure that the enemy ADC does not get to scale. That's where Draven's strengths come in.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's good to know because the play style, as you said, this is part of your game plan as a Draven. If you're going to pick up Draven, then you want to know that he's strongest in the early and mid game. That's good to know. So as a Caitlyn player, and you could talk about in general, how would you beat Draven? If I'm Caitlyn, obviously I got the distance on you, but is there any particular tricks? I know you can E away. Do you set traps where his axes are going to land, or how do you do that? And then in general, what are some just guidelines if you're matched up against them that they should probably watch out for when they're playing against Draven?
Just in general, when you're playing against Caitlyn, and Draven. I guess this applies when you're playing, Draven. Applies when you're playing Draven too. Draven cannot manage waves very well because he always needs to be auto attacking to reset his axes. So he can't really freeze waves all that well, and he just does so much damage that he's always going to be pushing. So you need to have good vision because you're going to be getting ganked because you're going to be getting pushed up.
Okay.
Yeah, and also people are scared of Draven, so they're going to be asking for ganks. It's just if you play Draven, you're going to be getting ganked, and you need to accept that. You're in a 3v2 lane. Draven can handle it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good to know because people want to know how to beat him. Any other tips?
For playing against him or playing as him?
Playing against him.
Just don't make mistakes. Draven.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. All right.
Be willing to forfeit CS.
Okay.
If he's setting something up, don't do anything risky because he will capitalize on your mistakes, and once he's ahead, there's no stopping him.
Okay. Okay, good to know. Don't feed the Draven is basically what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now let's move on to the flip side. What are some matchups that are good for Draven? What are you most like when you see a champion being picked in Champ Select? Like when are you most salivating when you're picking Draven? Like you're like, oh, I'm gonna wreck this guy.
When I see hyper carry, like any ADC that's like the inverse of Draven, like weak early and strong late game,
Okay.
those are the easiest. So Twitch, Kog'Maw, Jinx,
Mm,
Jhin, any one of those type of characters, you're just
Uh-huh.
going to have an easy lane where you can put them behind.
Okay. Well,
And
that's good to know.
yeah,
Okay. Okay, and then the other flip side is you got some I guess we'll talk about tips a little bit later because I mean we need to talk about more about the champion himself. So we'll save the tips and kind of general guide for how you would utilize Draven a little bit later. So because I want to get into more of like the builds and the runes, and so I got my League of Legends client open, and you can see my screen, right?
yes, I can.
Okay. And I am going to open up runes. I'm gonna make a new page. Actually, I'll just let's use Thresh, because when am I ever gonna play Thresh again? Just kidding. All right, so I'm gonna name this Draven. All right, first of all, what do we usually take in here for the first tree of runes?
This is like standard. You're never going to change this. You're going to do precision with Conqueror.
Precision with Conquer. So this is absolutely non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Draven,
after 4 seconds in combat,
yeah.
your first attack against an enemy champion grants you AD and what? AD and converts some of your damage to true damage. Okay. All right. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Conqueror is super strong on Draven. It allows him to have incredibly strong trades and do true damage to tanks and such. So you should be able to eat 4 auto attacks as opposed to 2.
Okay. Cool. All right. What about the next one? We got Overheal, Triumph, or Presence of Mind.
I'll do Triumph. Some people like taking Overheal. I don't. I think it's. I think Triumph is just too good to not take.
Okay. So Triumph, would you take Overheal if you had like a healing support, or still take Triumph?
I would still take Triumph. The reason people take Overheal is because Draven always takes Lifesteal. Speaking of, you'll want to take Bloodline.
Okay.
As the next rune.
Bloodline. Okay, permanent lifesteal. Okay.
Yeah, so Bloodline really makes your laning a lot stronger because as soon as you get just any amount of lifesteal, Draven just will always be full health and he'll always win trades.
Okay.
And
so
then
lifesteal is definitely important. So Dan says that we all know that Draven needs Aftershock. So Dan's disagreeing with you. Okay, all right.
That bonus armor when you use
bonus
your
armor, exactly. Okay. Okay. What now for the last one? Which one? Coup. Okay. So deal more damage to low health enemy champions. All right. And you wouldn't even consider the other two? Is there any situation when you would? Okay.
Absolutely. The only one of these runes I would ever change is replacing Triumph with Overheal because you're going to be building a Bloodthirster and you also have Bloodline, so you're essentially always going to have Overheal activated. So it's pretty good. Okay. I just think that Triumph is too strong because, as I've said before, like you're going to be getting ganked and you need to have Triumph in order to do those epic 1v3 plays where you're at no health and you're just killing. I think
that's what gets me like so tilted about playing against Draven is that he'll have like a sliver of health. There's 3 people on him and he kills all of them, and I'm like, oh. And I feel like part of this is that Triumph where he's just you think you got him? Nope, he killed you and he's still alive. So I could definitely see that. All right, what are we doing for secondary here?
For secondary, you're going to want to do sorcery.
All right.
With celerity and gathering storm.
Celerity and gathering storm. So celerity, all movement speed bonuses are 10% more effective. Why celerity?
Because Draven, his W is just straight up a movement speed buff. So it has great synergy with that. Your W can always be active because it resets.
Yep.
And then gathering storm is just pretty much necessity for any ADC so that they scale into late game better.
Okay. So celerity to kind of help with his scaling, you said. Oh wait, no, you said celerity for the movement speed. What was the other one?
Gathering Storm.
Gathering
the bottom
Storm.
right
Okay,
one.
yep. All right. So would there ever be a case like where Nullifying Orb, if you were against like a double AP bot, would you ever take Nullifying Orb, or are these two still too good?
I usually don't change them. If I'm up against like a 4 AP, I'll absolutely switch to the MR things and Nullifying Orb.
Okay.
Like if
Right
the
there.
jungler is AP,
Yep.
if they have like 3 or more AP, if essentially if their biggest threats are AP, take Nullifying Orb instead of Gathering Storm.
Okay.
But
But most
otherwise,
of the time it's
pretty
this.
pretty set in stone rune page right here.
Okay. And now what about these three little things?
You're going to want to do attack speed, adaptive force, and then health.
Adaptive force and then health. Okay. Any reason as opposed to the other ones? Let's see. We got adaptive. So why wouldn't you take adaptive force for the first one as well? More damage.
The attack speed is just will result in higher DPS. That's true for any ADC.
Okay.
The 10% attack speed is better than the 6 AD you'd get.
Okay.
It says +9, but for AD it ends up being +6.
Okay, math. I like it, guys. Math. All right.
Yeah, and then you can switch the health one to armor or MR if you're up against a AD or AP heavy team, respectively.
Yeah, so I always wondered this in general. Like, when is it better to like have health as opposed to a defensive item, like, or a defensive stat like armor or MR?
If it's if they have a nice balanced team, you'd absolutely want health. It'll help you more. It's really the early game or like the early levels where the health helps the most. But I mean, if they are a 5 AD or 5 AP team, absolutely take the armor or MR.
Okay, cool. All right, well, it looks like our rune page is good. Is there any other like situational runes that you might do, like, or is this pretty standard right here? Like, I could save this and probably be pretty good.
Yeah, you can save this and it'll work for any game.
Well, that's what I'm doing then.
Yeah, before Conqueror actually came out, Draven was bottom tier just because he had no runes that worked well for him.
Gotcha.
Conqueror is pretty much the only rune you can take.
All right, well, now we're going to create an item set here. This is for Summoner's Rift. Okay, and we're going to name this Standard Draven. All right, so what are we normally starting off with here? Is it always Doran's Blade, or what's the deal?
Always Doran's Blade.
Always Doran's Blade.
Even if you're against a poke-heavy team, the lifesteal will benefit Draven much more than Doran's Shield will.
Okay, so always the Doran's Blade. Okay, now what's our first goal for our first back? What are we looking for? What are we trying to get to, I guess? Like, what's our primary goal as far as gold-wise? What are we trying to get? Death Cap. Dance's Death Cap.
Your first item is definitely going to be a Storm Razor. Your goal, your first back should have a BF sword.
Okay, so we want a BF sword. If we can't get a BF sword, what would be ideal? Because BF sword's 1,300 gold. Obviously, we know that sometimes it's not ideal and we don't get to that 1,300. So if you couldn't get BF sword right away, would you just build components of Storm Razor?
It depends. If you only have like 500 gold, you would actually buy a second Doran's Blade. If you have like 700 gold, I would get 2 long swords. If you have 1,000 gold, I would buy boots along with the 2 long swords.
See, this is nice to know. So if you had about 500 gold, or you could put swords on there. That's what you're saying. Okay. What else were you saying? So if you had 700, you get two long swords. Any other situational things you would do there?
No.
Okay.
I pretty much always just aim to get a Storm Razor because it is so strong so early on Draven.
Okay, so we're gonna put Storm Razor here then. All right. After Storm Razor, when would you buy boots? Would you buy it? You know, is that situational kind of? Because I know he has his W, so.
Yeah, I wouldn't try to get boots early. Definitely do not upgrade the boots until you finish your Storm Razor, though.
Okay. So we're talking.
And if it comes down to would I rather buy a BF sword or boots, you would absolutely take the BF sword.
Okay. All right.
And also, if you This will happen sometimes. If you back
Okay.
with 2,800 gold, you just finish your Storm Razor and do not buy boots.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is prioritize damage over the speed.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if I had 700 gold, I'm not buying one longsword and boots. I'm buying 2 longswords.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, good to know. So now I got Storm Razor, I got Berserker Greaves, right? What is my next item that I'm going for here?
You can go Berserker's Greaves. Really,
No,
any
okay.
boots on Draven are
Any
fine.
boots, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they are, if they have a super fed AP carry, take Mercs. If they have a lot of CC, take Mercs. If they have a super fed Zed or super fed Tryndamere or Yasuo or something, take Ninja Tabby.
Okay.
I mean, the boots, Draven can take anything.
Okay.
As for the next item, your next item after Storm Razor will just be a Bloodthirster.
Bloodthirster for that lifesteal then, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And this
Wait,
is...
why is this one different? 3,300. Oh, it's a different. Okay, it's for different maps. Okay. All right, so the I guess, the main thing here is what? Because of the lifesteal? Is that what we're going for mainly?
It's the lifesteal. It's the insane amount of AD you get on top of it.
Okay.
This is essentially Draven's core, Storm Razor and Bloodthirster. Once you have
Okay.
those 2 items, you just do so much damage. This is like the epitome of Draven.
Okay. Now, if I'm buying components for this, am I still emphasizing the damage, or am I trying to get this lifesteal first?
Since you have Bloodline, I would emphasize the damage. Moreover,
Okay.
but because there's such a discrepancy in the cost of like long swords and BF swords,
BF swords, yeah.
usually it doesn't matter too much.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so now we got Bloodthirster. We got the core here, guys. Core. Boots, Storm Razor, and Bloodthirster. All right, now are we moving into situational now, or is there still kind of a standard path that you're going after these core items?
Yeah, everything beyond this point is pretty situational.
Okay. So typically,
general,
what's the most common that you're usually buying after this?
Yeah, typically after this, you're going to go Rapid Fire Cannon into Infinity Edge,
Okay.
just so you can get the crit and you will do insane damage into the late game.
Which would you buy first if you had the gold?
Absolutely get Rapid Fire Cannon.
Okay.
If you get super far ahead as Draven, if you can get a Storm Razor, a Bloodthirster, and a Rapid Fire Cannon before 25 minutes, you will be able to start two-shotting people.
Yes!
Or
two-shotting!
Alternatively, auto-attacking them once and then hitting them with the first part of your ultimate will also kill them.
Oh my gosh, that sounds good. Man,
Yeah.
okay, that's pretty good. Okay.
So if you this is for like if you are really far ahead, you're absolutely just going to want to build the rapid fire into the IE, because then you'll just start deleting anyone, tanks included. Nothing will be able to stop you.
Yeah, so that was another thing I wanted to ask is, with tanks, some ADs build what is it, Lord Dominic's or armor shred stuff. Is that not necessary on Draven?
It is necessary. If they have a lot of tanks, you're absolutely going to want to build it. But because you're running Conqueror and because of IE's passive, you actually are doing a lot of true damage.
Doubles, okay. Oh, 10% of critical strike damage converted to true damage. Okay, gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah, so
okay.
If you're ahead, absolutely prioritize the Infinity Edge over the Dominic's. If you're falling behind and they just have a lot of tanks, I would get Lord Dominic's just because it's cheaper.
Okay. What if they're an AP heavy team? Are you looking at Ma or still just this standard build?
If they are an AP heavy team, it depends on what kind of AP they have.
Okay.
For example, if they have a Karthus that's already getting fed after I finish my Bloodthirster, I'm going to build a Ma.
Okay.
Third item.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, Draven does, like, after the core, you can build whatever you want, and you will still be doing crazy amounts of damage.
Okay.
If they have a lot of CC, like if they have, like a Twisted Fate or someone with like point and click CC that you're not going to be able to dodge, absolutely you're going to want to build a quick Silver Stash early.
Okay. Like how early is early?
Like after your Bloodthirster, you're going to build QSS and then just sit on it.
Okay, so would you ever upgrade to the Mercurial?
Yes, but not third item.
So later in the game.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
sit on the QSS and then build your
Finish.
crit, and then
Okay.
finish it later.
Okay.
And then if they have a super AD heavy team, or if they have like a super fed Zed or something ridiculous like that, I will
Yep.
build GA instead of Infinity Edge. Or if you are just so far ahead and your team is not ahead and you are literally the only thing that's keeping your team afloat, I would
Then you
also
gotta
build
stay
GA.
alive. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I would also build a
Okay.
GA.
All
That
right.
happens a lot too.
Nice. Okay, so does this look pretty good right now? I mean, anything that we may have missed, or does this look pretty standard?
That looks very standard to me.
Okay, cool. All right, so now that we've got that, and by the way, guys, if you have any questions for Light, any Draven specific questions, then feel free to type it in chat, and we'll get to those towards the end of the interview part. All right, now let's talk about, I guess, general gameplay. You know, obviously we want to farm and do all that stuff, but talk about some, I guess, guidance. Like, what are we doing? What are some things we need to know playing Draven?
I think the most important thing to keep in your head while you're playing Draven is that one way or another you need to get ahead of the enemy laner. Whether
Okay.
that means killing them and just simply, start snowballing, getting your passive going,
Yep.
or denying them CS. I think it's important to know that as Draven, you don't need to get a kill to get ahead. You are so
Okay.
strong, you can just deny the enemy laner CS, and
Okay.
you'll be able to get ahead simply by denying your laner XP, denying them gold, and just
Okay.
getting ahead that way. That's also a perfectly legitimate, viable way to play Draven and get ahead.
Okay. So what I'm going to do real quickly is I'm going to load up the practice tool, because I think with something like this, as much as I want to just get into a normal game and play this, I think I need some clarification on like just the mechanics of the axe throwing, like his passive. Like I don't quite understand the adoration stacks either, like how that all plays into effect. And I'm assuming I'm going heal flash, right?
Flash heal, yep.
Okay. All right. So we'll just pick this. We'll load it up, and then we'll do a little bit of and I shared it on Discord. Do you see that as well? Because there's that should be less latency between what I'm doing and what you're seeing.
Oh, okay,
so
yeah.
You can kind of coach me. So
yeah,
look, I would rather you look at the Discord than the stream, because that's going to be a little more
yeah, I'll do
instant. That. Okay. So load this up. Again, if you guys have questions, Volt asks, how do I kill Draven into the dirt so he has no fun? Does Draven use his axes to masturbate? Wow. Very, very good questions, guys. You know, I mean, I think these are super educational. Every
Just
Draven
clarification, lore-wise, LeBlanc is Draven's lover and brother. Not
LeBlanc, really. What? Okay. No. All right. I don't know anything about the lore, so yeah, it would be pretty nuts. All right, so I'm just gonna have fun with this. I'm going to add a bunch of gold, level myself all the way up. I'm going to toggle minions, making sure that they don't spawn. All right, I'm all the way level 18. Okay, so when I'm leveling, what am I leveling up first usually?
QWE.
QWE. Okay. And even levels 1 through 3, is that what you would do?
Yes, QWE. 1 through 3.
Okay, so let me just buy all my items here. Hey, look, essential items. Actually, let me pull the standard Draven up since we made it. And so you would say rapid fire, infinity edge, and what would you go last item just in general? Probably GA.
GA. Yeah.
GA. All right, now let's have some fun. Let's go put a dummy. I'm gonna teleport over here, and let's stick a dummy. Spawn enemy dummy. Okay, so his passive. Okay, explain this to me, because I could read this, but I still wouldn't understand it. So,
okay, so every time you either catch an axe or kill a minion, you will get a single stack of adoration. What adoration does is whenever you get a kill on a champion, every stack that you have gets cashed out. And every stack gives you 2 gold plus a base 25 gold.
Okay, so you're going to be earning adoration, and then you want to get a kill so that you can cash in that extra gold.
Absolutely. And
Okay.
I think it's also very important to communicate with your team. If you are sitting on above like 150 stacks, you better
Yep.
start pinging your jungler, spam ping your jungler, get a gank, get a kill. It's very important that you cash out.
Why 150? Is that a max? Is there a max you can
It's
get?
not a max, it's just that's a lot of stacks to have, and if you die,
Okay.
you will lose 75% of your stacks. So
Ah,
dying
okay.
with a lot of stacks is literally costing you a lot of gold.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so I guess, so here's the thing that I've always wondered. When you press Q, it just activates this, right? And then you just auto attack like normal?
Exactly, yep.
But
So
it says you can have up to 2.
yeah,
So
so
I
you'll
could,
notice
uh-huh,
you'll notice just like press Q.
okay,
So one of the axes starts spinning.
okay,
Once Q is off cooldown, once you press it again, the second axe will be spinning.
okay.
And
Well,
whenever an
now I could
axe
press
is
it
in,
again, you're saying, right?
yeah, so whenever an axe is in the air, for example, right now your next auto attack would not be empowered and it would not have the bonuses from the Q. So it's
Oh,
very important that you're always using empowered auto attacks. You lose out
okay.
on
So you
quite
basically
literally
want to have,
50% of your damage.
you basically
Yeah.
want to have an axe on the time, all the time.
Yeah. So
Okay.
just without auto attacking, you can only have 2 axes spinning at once.
Okay.
However, you can have more. How do I explain this? You can have more axes so long as one of them is always in the air. So once your attack
So
speed is high
typically what
enough,
I would do is press Q, right? Start attacking, right? And then as soon as it's off cooldown, I want to press it again.
pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
You
So
want
am I
to
doing this right now? Oh, I missed.
no.
I'm not?
Okay, so one important mechanic that I think a lot of people don't understand is
Okay.
whenever you auto attack with a Q, the direction that you're moving, whenever the auto attack hits, is where the axe will fall.
Okay, hold on one second. Hey, real quickly, thank you so much for that raid, Lord Shadow. We're in the middle of a podcast interview learning some educational Draven, but I appreciate that. Wanted to really quickly just thank you for that and appreciate you guys coming in. We're just learning some Draven right now, so enjoy the show. Go ahead, Light. Let's say that again.
Yeah,
say it one more time where you said that a lot of people don't understand this with Draven, because you said I was doing it wrong, so I want to do it right. How do I do it right?
Yeah. So whenever you throw an axe that is spinning, or whatever direction you're moving, whenever the auto attack hits the enemy, is where the axe will land.
Oh,
So
see, that's
you
where
were
I.
moving. Yeah, you were moving forward when you threw that axe, so it lands in front of you.
So when do I want to click? Like, is it kind of like Callista or is it different?
It's barely similar to Callista, but like, yeah, you're doing better now. So like, whenever you attack, the direction you move is where the axe will land.
So what could I, like? Let's say I flashed out of here. Would it? Oh, it does. Okay, it still comes back to you.
Yeah, it's whatever direction you're moving as soon as
Okay.
the axe actually lands.
Okay.
So like
I
you
got
you can zigzag back and forth in place, and it's just like whatever direction you're moving, the instant the axe hits is where it will go.
Okay. So if I go here, oh, I missed. Okay, I missed. Okay, let's move on then. Okay, so I think that's always been the hardest part for me is the Q catching, because I always forget where it's gonna go. So I guess when you're playing Draven, you want to already know where you're gonna go after you auto attack or before it hits. So I think that's one thing I don't know. That's where I have a hard time sometimes, because it's like that's mechanically for me a lot to think about, because I'm usually just clicking on them and then not worrying about where I want to be before that, which I probably should as an ADC anyways. So
Yeah, attack moving is incredibly important on Draven.
okay. And if you don't know what attack moving is, it's basically after you auto attack somebody during the animation of the auto attack, you want to already be moving in whatever direction you want to go. So for example, if I attack, I'm already, before it even lands, I'm already clicking to move somewhere else. That's all. That's all it is. Purple degenerate ADC main. Not necessarily. No. I'm just trying to learn more champions in depth. Doesn't mean I'll ever main them, but I am trying to learn them because I think I've been playing this game for so long. I would like to know a little bit more about them. All right, let's go into W. I know all I know is this is a movement speed buff, right? Anything else I need to know?
It's a movement speed buff. It is also an attack speed buff.
Oh.
Which is very important.
So would this start off my initiation? Like, let's say I want to go in on them.
Absolutely. Because the most important thing about W is that whenever you catch an axe, its cooldown resets.
What?
Yeah.
So
you can have
I can have it up at all times if I just keep catching axes.
Your W can be active at all times. It's so long as you keep catching axes.
So oh my gosh. So what do you do? Keep pressing W if I keep catching axes?
It lasts for 3 seconds. One thing to note, especially early game, is that Draven does not have a large mana pool at all. Mana conservation is a huge thing to worry about during laning as Draven.
So you don't necessarily want to keep pressing it.
Yeah, use it once to engage and get in on them, and then use it as necessary. Because if you use it on reset, you will run out of mana so fast.
Okay, so am I doing this right here? Other than my terrible attack moving.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you can refresh it, man. That's a lot of buttons to remember. Okay. All right. Okay. Barring that, let's see. E throws his axes, and it basically knocks them aside, and they're slowed. Okay. So am I usually trying to initiate with this, or is it always usually better to go with W first?
I would. What I usually do when I engage is I W forward, auto attack once. Move forward so that the axe lands in front of me, and then I'll E.
Okay, so you W, Q, kind of like that, I guess.
Kind of, yeah. Less spaghetti. Less spaghetti falling out of the pockets.
That's gonna be a lot of stuff. Mostly self peel, stopping someone from running. Okay, let me try that again. So we're gonna W, we're gonna Q in, boom. Oh, but I should have E'd earlier, I think, right? Huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then ultimate, I guess. So let's do, what's a full combo here? Let's say I'm ready to one-shot people. I'm ready to go. What am I doing? Am I going W, and then Q, and then E, and then R?
I would, what I would do is W, empowered auto, E, R. And one very important thing about E is that whichever side of the E they're on is the side that they will be knocked back.
Oh, so you don't want to miss it. Miss your R.
So if you use your E and then throw your R to the right, but the E knocks them to the left.
Oh,
congratulations,
gosh.
you've just whipped your ultimate completely.
All right, let me try this. Oh, I got R on hotkey. Wow, noob. All right, let me try this again. Okay. Here we go. So go like that?
Kind of, yeah.
All right, what am I doing wrong?
The thing is that usually when you're wanting to one-shot people, you're just going to want to auto-attack them, because that's pretty much all your damage.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
I use ultimate more as either a finisher if they're too far away for me to auto-attack, or later into the game once you're team fighting more. If you see a situation where your ult is going to hit their entire team, use it.
Do that. Okay. So it's not like is it like Jinx where the longer it is, the more damage it does?
No.
That sort of thing. No. Okay.
Yeah, it is a flat damage. Doesn't matter what their health is, what their current health is. It's just that when it's coming back to you, the more targets it hits, the less damage it'll do.
Okay.
So yeah, it's perfectly acceptable to use your ult on a full health death ball of enemy team,
Okay. Anything else I need to know other than get better at mechanics? Is there anything as far as gameplay tips, anything like that? You can also recall your ult. Oh yeah, you could pull it back, right, if you press it again.
Yeah, pressing after you throw your R, pressing R will make it come back to you. So this is a very important tip. Ward the. Here, we're gonna do a little exercise. Ward the dummy so that you can see it.
Okay.
And I'll explain, but start moving towards your fountain. What you can do in order to make your ult a lot harder to dodge, like right here is good.
Okay.
Throw your ult at the dummy right before your ultimate hits. Recall it.
Right
because
before
what
it
happens?
hits.
Yeah. So what happens with your ult is as soon as it hits a champion, it'll turn around. But the thing is that it will go a little extra distance after hitting the champion before it turns around.
Right there.
So like you see how it went,
yeah,
like,
it took a little bit
further
gotcha.
down. Yeah. If you recall your ultimate right before it hits, as opposed to waiting for it to hit, it will turn around on them and essentially hit them twice immediately.
So do it recall it before it hits them.
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, you see how it hit him twice?
Twice. I did it way before. Maybe let me try it again. Okay. Oops, I missed. Okay, hold on. Okay, no, okay. Playing Urf. I've been playing Urf, man. Right now we're learning Draven. I'm excited. Okay. Did I hit him twice? Or did I,
Yep,
did I do it too early? Oh, okay.
See how the total's to 60. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
That's just a little tip.
I also see people do this where they'll ult and then to hit them again they'll like flash or like whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So once your ult starts coming back, it will no matter what, it'll go towards you.
So like if I miss like this, I can. Oops, I did that wrong. But you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like I can do this.
That is a lot better when you're using your ult at close range, because you can only recall your ult after a second of it having been.
Oh, so it has to run a little. You can't just do it right away.
So for example, like if they were to flash away after it hits them once, you can flash to the side to make it like follow them.
Y'all don't laugh at me, man. My mechanics are great. I don't know what y'all talking about, man. Okay. All right. Any other tips, tricks that we need to know as a Draven main? Because you know I'm a Draven main now.
Yeah.
Y'all know I'm a Draven main now, right, guys? Okay. just making sure y'all know that.
Just know that like your damage is from your Q. That is all of your damage. So when your Q is not up, try not to fight. Okay. And yeah.
All right, let's try this. Let's do this. Am I ready for a normal game? I think so. I think I'm